In this world, there are monsters and ghosts where humans can develop unique powers depending on the potential of their soul. Some are powerful enough to kill demons, and others become so strong that they can become bald like Saitama. This awakening of powers in the human race occurs thanks to something unknown. Lin suddenly wakes up in the trash. My name is Lin Xiao, and I'm the guy who just woke up in the trash. My hair looks messy, but my body seems unharmed. Some characters from other stories are invincible from the first minute, something insurmountable. But I'm mediocre and talentless on a waste. My life wasn't already great, and I died in such a shameful way. If I find the one who killed me, I will kill. What's that noise behind me? When Lin looks, there's a guy damaging public property. The guy turns, twisting his neck, and says he smells fresh human. Our hero gets startled, and the guy asks to examine his body. Lin Xiao screams, and he'll come near, but the guy opens a Demogorgon mouth. But suddenly, there comes a scissor at high speed towards the guy and cuts his head off. Black blood splashes everywhere, and the guy evaporates. The scissor returns to a feminine hand, and a sweet voice saying, well, if it isn't my little brother. She seems powerful. Lin thanks for being saved and thinks, wow, not only is she strong, she's beautiful. She stares at him and asks, little brother, am I beautiful? Lin just got out of the trash can and is still confused. I'm so lost, are women in this world so direct? Not to mention she's quite beautiful. Yeah, sure, he just agreed. And what do you think now? Am I still beautiful? Opening a monstrous mouth. Lin, frightened, screams, what the heck is this? Why does the woman who saved me and made me fall in love out of nowhere turn into a monster? She licks his face. And brother, what a huge tongue. This woman is dangerous, but she wants the answer from our protagonist. Lin thinks, wow, she's so close, I'm about to die, but this is amazing, calm down, this is not the time to be thinking about something like that. I have to find a way out of this situation, but if I say she's beautiful, she'll cut my mouth. If I say she's not beautiful, she'll kill me. What am I going to do? Oh, she grabbed the scissor and put it in his mouth. If you don't say anything, I'll have to fix your face. Hey man, I just got reborn, someone help me. But like a good reincarnated, the system appears and is connected. I feel like time stopped, but I can't move either. The system warns 5-second time limit to make the choice, but you can't even read this whole text in 5 seconds. Choose 1, escape immediately, but she will chase you. As a reward, a powerful ingredient that multiplies your current strength. Choose 2, kneel and beg for mercy, but you'll have to fulfill any request from the hottie by kissing her. Reward, pills that awaken physical talent SSS. Choose 3. If you die under the lips of a beautiful woman, you'll become a ghost, so don't even think about it. Just kiss her already, you idiot. Confused, Lin asks, what kind of mission is this? The reward for stealing a kiss from her is a random SSS ability. Looks like I got the legendary mission system. I understand video games well, the only thing that will get me out of this situation would be something SSS level. But before he finishes the thought, the system restrictions are lifted. Lin has to perform the task. He grabs her shoulder, which confuses her a bit. How he's going to kiss a mouth that big, I don't know, but he pulls without hesitation and begins the adventure. The girl thinks, my god, I'm feeling something for the first time, and her scissor fell. The guy even untransformed her mouth, and she turned back kawaii, all shy, saying she's not pure anymore. Our protagonist in 2 minutes did more than 90% of manga protagonists, and he thinks, so beautiful, I didn't expect a demoness to be so affectionate. Looks like my charm worked on her. She steps out of his arms and says, my name is Hong. We'll surely meet again. She is enveloped in a small tornado and disappears. Lin completed the task, unlocking the random SSS, Supernatural Power Reward. Shout this phrase out loud to receive the reward. He wonders who's going to shout this out in the middle of the street. Whatever, I just got reincarnated in the trash and kissed a monster, you know what? Smash the darkness with thunder. A creature appears in the sky and gets struck by lightning. People in the city watching, wow, what's that in the sky? We then see a clog and a woman impressed that someone awakened an S rank or higher talent. As far as I know, there should only be one man in the city of Kanglin. Could it be the descendant of that boy? And the creature disappears into the sky. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the SSS level ability. He looks at his slightly purple hand and thinks, is this my power? The host's current strength is low, and SSS level ability like Shy Yu can complement the host's strength. To increase it, you must gradually unlock the other parts of this ability. Lin Xiao thinks, wait, the memories this body has from this world tell me that a warrior's limit is S, and I awaken something SSS. In that case, does that mean I'm invincible? He's very confident. Now with this SSS power, I have no doubt that in no time I will become incomparable and rise to the top of the world. I'm even excited thinking about it. The system warns, be careful. A large number of ghosts and monsters have been detected approaching the host's position. Flee the area as soon as possible. Lin thinks you must be kidding again. I don't even have the strength to fight yet. I'm out of here. Our protagonist flees. Lin ran frantically for half an hour until he found the house of the body's former owner. Phew, is this my house? But the house is very luxurious. It must be worth what? 100 million? It's the first time I've entered such a large place. I'm even nervous. He opens it and sees his sister. She says, "Bro, why did you take so long to come back?" He gets confused and wonders, "My sister Kekse." Wow, I almost forgot that this body had a sister. She gets surprised. "Why are you hurt?" "You have a lot of bruises on your body." Lin replies, "Oh, it's because the day was rainy, the road was slippery, and I fell." His sister then says, "Oh dear, you're so careless, brother. But here's some ginger soup." He thanks her and becomes all happy, and she says she's going to sleep. Lin thinks, as far as I remember, I was adopted by the Lin family when I was a child. Since then, I've been living with my two stepsisters. The problem is that both are very talented while I was a complete loser. 3 years ago, my sister was even selected to enter the special division due to her excellent grades. So her schedule is always busy and she hardly comes home. I was supposed to take care of my younger sister, but the idiot of this body was a rebel. He could barely take care of himself, let alone his sister. "Oh well, let me drink my soup." Someone suddenly shouts, "Lin, come here," and gets surprised. Who the hell broke my door when I was drinking my soup? The melon-carrying girl says it won't help and hide. Lin Xiao thinks Chu Junyo, she's a childhood friend of this guy. He asks her, "What are you doing here?" She points her finger at him, asking how dare he confess to her. He even used a megaphone. "You humiliated me, and you have to explain." Our protagonist starts to think, "Calm down, I confessed my love to her and then was found dead in the trash. Is there a connection between these events?" "Oh, forget it. Let me take care of this woman first." He then explains that he was just joking. "You took that seriously? As if I would fall in love with a woman as violent and fierce as you. I'm afraid you'll devour me." But she comes kicking. "You're gonna die." And he dodged. He dodges, but the nosebleed is inevitable when meeting at a certain angle. I think he saw something, His eyes even sparkled. She gets embarrassed. "Lin Xiao, you scoundrel, you look, didn't you?" He says it wasn't on purpose. Moreover, you're to blame for showing such things to an innocent teenager like me. You should apologize to me. But now she's in a fighting stance. At this point, the sister steps forward to protect Lin. She has Annie's tibbers on her arm, apparently. I bet that teddy bear turns into a big bear. Chu Juniao says she doesn't talk to kids, Lin. Just don't forget that tomorrow is the special abilities test day at school. You have to have at least level C or higher to enter Kangling Academy. I myself have awakened classic powers and was sent to the academy in advance. I already have a bright future waiting for me. But as for you, it's impossible for you to catch up with me in this life. So forget about me, you'll just be an ordinary person in society. Bro thought, why talk to our protagonist like that? He thinks I'm an ordinary person. Little does she know that I have a special SS power. I'll never be considered someone ordinary. At this moment, the system window opens. The task has been activated. He sees the choices and thinks, this system is full of options. Choose one of the options. Option 1. Pretend not to care about the situation to maintain your peace and quiet. Reward, 1 point of agility. Option 2. Apologize to her and acknowledge your disrespect. Reward, 10 points of strength. Option 3. Make a vow that you will become powerful in the future. Gain 1 point of strength. Lin thinks, look at this system, it wants me to humiliate myself to her. I refuse to do that, even if the second reward is better. I choose option 3, Chu Junyo. I swear that not only will I follow the path of a psychic, but I will also enter Kangling Academy with my own strength. She looks at him. Oh well, anyone can brag now, but I want to see you prove it with your actions. Congratulations to the host, you receive 1 point in strength. She leaves. Bye-bye. Lin thinks, I swear sooner or later you will regret it. His sister says she trusts he will be able to awaken, and he seems motivated. Night falls and he lies down to sleep, until that woman with the big mouth and an even bigger heart appears licking his ear. Thankfully, she transforms back, she thinks. The boy who stole my first kiss. Now you will have to take responsibility for that for the rest of your life. The next morning, our protagonist wakes up in a hurry to go to school, eating a bread that looks like plastic. His sister wishes him good luck on the psychic test. Brother, you better not disappoint me. Bro thought, was that a threat or an encouragement? After a while, Lin stops. I can't run with this body. Damn, last night I dreamed I slept with a ghost woman. It's weird. It was too realistic, it felt like it happened. The question is, did he sleep beside her or did she sleep on top? With this, entering Clanland, the first secondary school. Conference hall. The crazy woman from yesterday is there saying, look at these students, for God's sake, make an organized line. They are worse than the last ones. Art Lin there in the middle of the crowd and pulls a guy to ask, "Hey, is this the evaluation site?" The blonde guy says, "Get out of here." But he gets confused. Wait, Lin Xiao? This guy really wasn't supposed to be dead? He looks at our protagonist and asks what he's doing. Our hero responds by asking if that guy is Yang Yi, and he remembers that from the memories of this body, this guy is my enemy. Does he have anything to do with my death? I can't be careless. The guy replies, "I didn't expect you to dare to come for the test." At that moment, the announcer warns the psychic ability test has begun. This test will determine your future. Only if you have awakened to level C or higher will you have a chance to enter Clan Glan Academy. First to be evaluated will be Xiaoming. Xiaoming, go there, put your hand on the ball, and they announce, "Wang Xiaoming, you awaken Iron Pot." What do you mean, Iron Pot? The other there awakened a cigarette. The other awakened toilet paper. The blondie arrives and everyone says, "My God, it's Yanji, it's Yanji." He puts his hand on the ball and awakens a classic talent, the Ghost Wolf. This wolf reminds me of the villain from Puss in Boots 2. Everyone is ecstatic, the girls there with their hearts in their hands. Oh my God, Yanji, he's amazing. However, next comes Lin Xiao. Now they are confused. Was that Lin really here to take the test? He comes there excited, but it looks like the zipper is kind of open. Everyone laughs at him, but he will take the test. Yanji says that the protagonist likes to embarrass himself. Lin Xiao becomes confused. Why is everyone laughing so much? Am I really that handsome? The guy warns, "Mr. Lin Xiao, your pants are open." He says, "It's okay, let's quickly take the skills test. All arrogance and prejudice will disappear. Now you will witness a miracle." He puts his hand on the ball. Everyone is impressed. Lin Xiao thinks, "Now you will discover what a true SS class man is." But his ability is FFF, deficient or incapable. The guy even gets scared. Lin Xiao, FFF is even unknown. He looks back and gets lost. Wait, FFF, invalidated. What is this? The blonde guy says, "You didn't disappoint us by disappointing us. Ha, Lin Xiao, you really are incapable. This guy's life is ruined. It's better for him not to try to get close to Chu Junyo anymore." Up there, Chu Junyo is holding her face in disappointment. Lin Xiao thinks, wait, something's wrong. There has to be something wrong. Until a female hand touches the boy's face and says, "It seems like you need my help." It's the ghost woman. "Oh yeah, relax, I'm here to help you." His potential starts to increase. It seemed to be rising rapidly. Measurement data indicates an S-class potential. With such high potential, even someone with an FFF rank could reach a rank potential, which is how far you can go. Chu Junya, not bad kid. The blonde guy is confused, wondering a failure like him. The analyzing teacher. You're at the FFF level, but you have a potential of 1 in a million S rank. Yeah, kid, I think you passed. Lin Xiao celebrates happily. In the future, I'll be a professional psychic. 10 minutes after the tests, look, the blonde guy is coming to bother Lin, saying it's a waste for him to have all that potential. Lin Xiao replies, "Jealous of my potential, aren't you?" But the blonde retorts, "How could someone envy a loser like you? You want? Then let's fight." The system window appears again, pausing time and asking the question. Choose number 1. Assume a calm expression and ignore Yang Yi. 3 points of agility. Accept Yang Yi's fight request and cause him pain. 3 points of strength. Choose number 3. Find him later to resolve the issue with the girl. 3 psychic points. Time unlocks. And Yang is talking, I'm the master of the Yang family. Lin Xiao says he chooses number 2. Me wanting to punch you and you still ask me. That's what I call a favor. And Yang falls to the ground beaten up. With this, our protagonist gained 3 points of strength. The blonde guy starts to emit an aura, saying, "Not even my father hits me. How dare you?" But someone already tells them to stop everything. The second level of the practical test is about to begin. Students who have passed and were able to awaken. Follow me and prepare to proceed to the real battlefield. Our protagonist sees a snake on her arm, so she's already from Kanglan Academy. The next chapter starts on the road along the outskirts of Kanglan. The second level of the practical test is extremely important, and those who pass it will enter the academy and become official students. Our protagonist is peeking, you know where, right? But she's already giving him an angry look. Lin Xiao wonders, why is she staring at me so much? At this moment, the driver sees some bats coming at full speed towards the bus. The bats hit the glass, and the bus starts shaking and falls to the ground. Our boy even hits his face on the glass. He becomes confused, wondering what's happening. How did this overturn? Where did these weird bats come from? The well-dressed instructor also seems to know nothing. If she doesn't know what's going on, imagine our confused protagonist. The students try to fight the creatures. The blonde sees Lin and comes to punch him. In fact, he stops the bat and throws it at Lin, saying, "Lin Xiao, take this little gift." Our hero kicks it back at him. "It's for you with this." Yang grabs it and tears it. "You don't think you're getting away with this, do you? Today you won't pass." Meanwhile, the well-dressed instructor is up in the sky killing all the bats. It seems that they won and she falls. The students thank the inspector for the good work. The blonde says, "I was just warming up, but it's over already." However, an earthquake is happening and some chains come out of the ground and grab everyone's feet. Pido disculpas pela confuso. Vau separar o texto em pargrafos para facilitar a comprenso. It was a trap that caught everyone. A guy arrives on a motorcycle saying, "Why do I smell a ghostly energy?" That villain over there with those clothes go to a room. This is no place for that. But he says, "Oh, let me see the tricks I've caught this time. Hey, little girl, let's play the tum game." The guy next to him tells him not to touch the girl. The biker replies, "Your girl? Then let's deal with you first." But the instructor arrived. Lin Xiao asks for help, but she rushes over, ignoring him and takes a whip to the mouth, and falls into the arms of our protagonist. Heroes always show up when things get serious. Another task from the system. The host is asked to make a choice. Take the well-dressed instructor and flee the scene. 2 points of agility. Kneel and beg the demon to let everyone escape. 2 points of strength. Kill the demon and save everyone. A fragment that increases powers. He extends his arm. A hero can only choose option 3. I will end this demon. The blonde says, "Are you crazy, man? This is a level B ghost. You won't be able to defeat it." But Lin Xiao already jumped like Michael Phelps. This is the diver's move. Comes with a punch but takes a chain in the middle of the face. "I thought you were going to do more." He starts to float, hearing a voice asking what he is doing. It's the hot ghost again saying, "You don't understand. You have to gather all the spiritual energy in your right arm." Here comes the protagonist, now all in flames. So that's how it is. She clings to him, making him think. When she makes that face, it's hard to resist. My God, she came so close. Does she want another kiss? As a man, I have to take the initiative. Come here. But he wakes up to reality. Friends are all pleading. "Lin, don't die. Free us, man." He gets up. Look at Lin's arm. The villain is impressed that he can stand up. "But you're still going to die. Take this, a chain." The well-dressed girl is scared. The trashy blonde does nothing but still complains. The protagonist stops the chain with his hands and says, "What? Is this all? Are you sick?" Already grabs the chain and throws it aside. Throws it into the mountain. Yang is puzzled. Where did this kid get this power? But the masochist is still standing and intact, saying, "Not bad, huh? You even made me spit blood. But here it goes." The biker gives him a stare and comes drifting with a motorcycle. But Lin dodges. It's drifting and chain at the same time. The masochist says, "Do you think you're going to win with a surprise attack?" I want to see that. But our protagonist gets on the pillion and says, "Hey, old man, let's go somewhere else." The masochist is a little confused. The instructor cuts off his motorcycle, and seeing that his spiritual power is running out, decides to self-destruct and says, "If I'm going to die, you're coming with me." But the instructor saves Lin just in time. But she is injured by the explosion. He asks if everyone is okay. They look and see Lin coming out of the smoke, who says, "Thank goodness we managed to escape." But as she was thrown by the explosion, her body hit the protagonist's, and she's complaining of pain in the mountain. The boy says he's a gardener and asks if she wants him to take care of the area. But she refuses. "You perverted bastard." The e-girls are all around our protagonist, while that filthy blonde is thinking, "Damn it. How did he manage to do that?" Our hero completes the task. "Brother, what about these copy-paste heads? Did the artist get lazy?" Lin thinks, "At least little by little, I'll unlock my psychic abilities. Too bad I ended up gaining a little fame. I just wanted to develop more unknownly." Out of nowhere, a robot comes and says that this was the end of the second level of the practical test. Everyone is confused, so all of this was part of the test. The robot explains the second level of the test is, in fact, a practical test of unexpected events. The performance of everyone was recorded by the nearby cameras. Those who've had a good performance will enter Kanglin College. Not even the instructor knew, and she gets very angry. But the robot says that the university doesn't inform the instructors to make it more realistic, and says that the best candidate was Lin Xiao. Everyone is celebrating with him. The instructor thinks this Lin Xiao has an incredible potential in his body. His appearance will stir up the college quite a bit. Back at the mansion, the little sister asks, "Brother, did you pass?" Lin Xiao says yes, and his sister is happy. He climbs the stairs like Michael Jackson, and she says she knows today must have been stressful, and that he should go up while she prepares some food. Talking on the phone with his other sister, Bro thought, "I'm curious to see if she's thick. Will she show up now?" Just from behind, I could see she's a powerful samurai ninja. He tells her he passed the test, and she responds, very good, my brother. I have a task to do and have to go now. He falls onto the bed. Phew, my sister Chinhua is really mysterious. Weird, my head feels heavy. He then falls asleep, but the talkative one appears. Bro thought you always sleep with her when you sleep. He feels embarrassed but says, hey girl, you better not keep coming into my room. I have a lot of energy, and I'll end up making a mistake every night. But the coast says she needs him. I can teach you to enhance your strength, but there's a condition. He asks, what's the condition? And the ghost replies, you'll have to marry me in the underworld. Lin questions, marry? What do you mean? And she explains, you and I sign a soul contract to marry in the underworld. But drooling, he tells her, I'm a very decent guy and very young, and I can't get married. However, she doesn't care and says she can't wait anymore. She pulls his soul or hers. I don't know if it's coming or going. Lin's screaming. I think it left him. She hugs the protagonist, who says his head hurts. He starts absorbing some of her memories. It seems she participated in a fight 10 years ago and was defeated. And with that, she reincarnated in this world. Unfortunately, he can't see much. These are past memories, but I'm so calm. The next day, his sister knocks on the door. Get up, it's time for breakfast. You've been asleep since you got here yesterday. Lin wakes up thinking, why did that woman disappear already? If we're newlyweds, shouldn't there be a bachelor party? I haven't done anything with her yet. And what were those memories from the other life? Well, I'll ask later. Today is my first day at Kanglan College, and I'll have to part ways with Chio. She's already sad and holds his hand, saying, no brother, don't go. And he says, it's okay. I have to go to get stronger. But I promised to visit you on vacation. She's kind of happy, kind of sad. With that, the bus arrives, and the driver says, get in, kid. He says he's going. And with that, bye to his little sister. However, she's staring, thinking, you don't need to visit me, I'll go there. Our protagonist then arrives at the school thinking, wow, it's so luxurious here. What's more important is that it seems to have an infinite supply of beautiful women. Oh dear, here I go. Calm down, I have to focus on priorities and introduce myself for admission. Who could my mentor be? In an area where some instructors are competing for students, those guys are angry. Because the thick teacher is winning with melons, they complain to her, you have to stop taking the best students using that. She says she doesn't care, she's going to abuse her power. But look how our guy comes. My name is Lin Xiao. Is anyone here looking for me? The instructors who all found out about his performance on the test are already desperate, saying, hey, Lin, come be my student. You'll receive the best items. No, come with me. You'll meet the best interns. They're all grabbing him. Rotha, our instructor, is back there. Will she use her weapon? One guy in a blue suit says to the other, Juan, you don't even have good pills. Lin has to come to our class. Yeah, right? We're a virgin. I'm going to find his sister for Lin. Lin's looking lost, my god, this school is kind of crazy, isn't it? Until the powerful one calls him Lin Xiao, beautiful boy. I'm instructor Jiang Lin. Why don't you come to my office? She already called him to the office. He's looking, thinking it's very big. Obviously, that instructor's talent is enormous indeed. The others get mad, telling her to stop stealing everyone. She tells Lin that those guys are all idiots and calls him. Our guy says he's going. Rotha, this instructor needs to go to the tailor. The buttons on her clothes are all bursting with talent. She tells our guy, as long as you worship me, I'll let you sleep in the best dormitory and give you special benefits. The other teachers know they can't compete against such an offer. Our protagonist immediately says she's the best and that he will forever worship her. She gives him a little kiss on the forehead and says, great, now you'll have to practice a lot. Don't disgrace me because if you embarrass me, you'll be in pieces. Lin is now startled and the hidden blonde overhears. Our guy thinks this school is too good. I can't believe I have a separate dormitory. It would be nice if I could play with the best stuff here. In the neighboring dorm, someone says, you're the newbie Lin Chao, right? My name is Shang Qian. I'm also a student in Jiang Lin's class. So I'm your senior, and I have the responsibility to help you. The two meet in the courtyard, and our protagonist greets him, who asks to be called Fatso. Lin asks if the instructor is fierce, and Fatso says she's a killer beast and explains, she must have seduced you and told you that when you learn, you receive special benefits, right? Lin agrees and asks what the problem is. Fatso warns that he was also betrayed that way at the beginning. As someone who came here first, I'm responsible for telling you. Missy tricked you. Our protagonist doesn't understand what he's getting at and asks Fatso to explain, who says, I won't lie to you. The mentor's nickname here is Witch. I shouldn't tell you, but the special benefit is actually something terrifying, and it's something most people can't even handle. You better give up now because unfortunately, there's no benefit in following Instructor Zhang. Just be careful. Lin is now scared, wondering why he said all that, but now he's already accepted her. There's nothing to do. He then says goodbye to his friend and tells him to take care because he looks pitiful. The scene changes to the blonde talking to an old man. This Lin Cheo guy was accepted as a student by Jiang Lin today. This guy always wants to make a fool out of me. You about to help me, Grandpa? He's the son of the Gandalf around here. The old man agrees, saying he'll help him get rid of this Lin Cheo. In the shower, our guy thinks, even with that instructor, this place is very comfortable. At that moment, a hand appears on his shoulder, startling him, and he asks, "How do you always appear out of nowhere like this? Are you living in my body by any chance?" She explains that she lives in his spiritual world, and he asks what that is. She explains that the spiritual world is a space around the soul. It contains a combat aura called spiritual power. Your spiritual world is very vast. It hides a large amount of power. It's a pity that your current strength is weak and you can't harness much. Our protagonist asks if that's why she signed a marriage contract with him, just to live in his spiritual world. She agrees, explaining that her spiritual world broke, and that's why she needs his. With every action or battle, she needs to replenish, and he's the best choice. Lin invites her, "Let's go to the bachelor party now because I've channeled a lot of spiritual power to you." But just then, someone knocks on the door. "Who's at my door at this hour?" He opens it, doesn't see anyone, and thinks it was a prank. However, there's movement in the bushes, and something suddenly passes by him, leaving him lost. "What just entered my house?" A yellow-furred weasel? The weasel asks him how he dares to dodge her attack. Our confused protagonist thinks, "I've heard of the legendary yellow weasel that appears in the moonlight. She asks you some questions and can even transform." The weasel takes advantage of the distraction to try a sneak attack, but is stopped by the scissors of the thick babe, who says, "How dare you try to touch my man? It's just a yellow-furred spirit, so I'm going to kill it." Our protagonist tells her not to do that, calling her mommy. He called her mommy? Even worse, she was happy about it. They then capture the weasel, who's afraid of being beaten and asks, "What are you going to do with me? Are you going to eat this weasel?" The protagonist says yes. "If you don't want to be eaten, tell me. Why did you attack me?" The weasel says she won't talk no matter what he does. "I will never surrender." So Lin puts some water to boil and says, "Today we're going to eat a little yellow-furred creature." The weasel changes her mind instantly and reveals, "You were ordered to be attacked by Yangwan." Lin recognizes the name immediately. It's the grandfather of the blonde who's a senior here. With that, the system presents the options. Choose one. Let the yellow one go. Give the little animal a chance. Reward, Marrow Elixir. Psychic Talent. Awakening of Class S. Choose 2. Kill the yellow one and send it to the Western Paradise. Reward, Fragment of Power. Lin thinks the reward for choice 1 is more generous. "But if I let this weasel go, I'll suffer the consequences. So you know what?" He tells the weasel, "I am merciful and refuse to kill you. Go away and I won't eat you." The weasel asks if he's telling the truth, and he says yes. The red ghost didn't want to agree, but the weasel already ran away. System notification shows you receive a marrow-cleansing pill. As the weasel arrives at the door celebrating, Lin asks where she's going. The weasel is confused, asking, "You said I could go, right?" Lin replies, "Of course, but now he's changed his mind and will bring her back." He takes her back and ties up the weasel, who faints in fear. The ghost asks if he's going to eat the weasel, but he replies that he doesn't eat wild animals. "I'll deal with this differently." The next day, the weasel wakes up and becomes the backyard dog and loses her mind. "I've lived my whole life free. There's no way I'm being made into a guard dog." Crying, she asks to be saved. Our protagonist wakes up in his usual paradise, and the ghost seems to have fed on his energy all night. He thinks that after taking the marrow cleansing pills, his body became feverish, and it seemed like he had fallen into a coma, and apparently she protected him all night. It seems having a wife isn't a bad thing. Not to mention, now I can touch her. She wakes up out of nowhere saying the night was too good. Lin wonders, was I supposed to be so afraid of her? She says the protagonist is stronger and more handsome. And he says it's true. It seems the cleansing pills are working well, and I feel full of power. She says she doesn't know where he got the pills, and he knows she has no idea about the system. I thought maybe she knew or had some connection, but apparently not. She says the pills he absorbed were extremely strong, which is why he fainted. The problem is that his physical condition is still so weak that he hasn't absorbed everything, and she lay beside him to help absorb the power of the pill. I thought it was another kind of help. That's okay. He absorbed it. She says that to improve absorption, he will have to increase his muscles and bones. He says he can increase them. How about we have a good fight? A training session for 2. We'll share our medicine. She's a little embarrassed, and he explains that he wants to protect her. She then explains to him there's a way to sharpen your muscles and improve your bones quickly. In your current state, you only need external force hitting your body. He's confused about this external force hitting him. She explains that he needs to be abused. The scene changes to the people arriving at the school, and he's somewhat insecure about this method she passed on. The chubby one asks Lin if he's looking forward to the entrance ceremony, but Lin says no, he's more interested in using his charm. Ironically, it's already working since there are a bunch of girls interested in who he is. They offer him juice, but he says he doesn't need it. And he feels all conceited, thinking, it seems like I'm gaining some fans. He then goes to Miss Zhang, who says, let me introduce you to some people. This is Morong and this is Feng, your senior sister from the same class. They introduce themselves there, and also to Sutang. In our class, she was your supervisor before. The girl who wears a lot of clothes, who was already angry, saying that our protagonist is late on the first day. But he goes up to her and says just a few days have passed and your body seems well recovered. She blushes and tries to kick him. He dodges and she punches, which he dodges again. Lin is evolving and the poor girl is even getting tired. Feng, who has been training her body diligently, says, relax. I know a way to deal with people who think too highly of themselves. He confidently dodges everything until he collides with two mountains. The instructor says he has improved. Poor guy falls to the ground since the impact was too strong, and she says, I investigated the information, and I didn't expect your father to be Lin Yuan. The chubby one is impressed to learn that his father is Lin Yuan. The hormone user says that Lin Yuan was once the strongest in the Ganglin Academy, and Lin thinks he didn't expect so many people to know about his adoptive father. But even though he's his son, he only has vague memories. And as an adopted son, he obviously didn't inherit his father's powerful genes. His childhood friend is there, confused, wondering, why does he seem to have improved so much? What did Instructor Jiang Lin do to him? The blondie wants to know why Lin Xiao is there. My grandfather said he was going to send a spirit to kill him. The scene changes to the old man telling everyone to be silent. The same guy who ordered the protagonist's assassination. He says good morning to everyone and introduces himself as Xuan Yang, saying it's a pleasure to meet all of you today. I believe you all came with the idea of becoming strong. And then in the future, Ganglin Academy will witness your evolutions. I think this academy must be very difficult to get into because it's kinda empty. You could form a soccer team and maybe not even that. The president then says, now I want to call the best freshmen to collect their Ganglin order and give their testimonies. Lin Xiao asks what this Ganglin order is. The chubby one explains that it's a reward given only to the best new students, and it's also a personal space that can absorb items, so it's very useful. And then he shows his. Lin Xiao is even impressed that the chubby one was already such a great freshman. He keeps asking what he means by that. But then they see the testimony of the freshman Chu Noil, who says, thank you for the award the academy gave me. I will meet all the expectations of this academy. Lin was just watching until the blondie showed up saying, second-class freshman Yang Yi, and I will fight to be the strongest and bring pride to this school. Our hero is confused. This guy had a mediocre performance. How come he's up there? And then they call for him. 7th class freshman Lin Xiao, and the system came again. Please make a choice. Choice number 1. Give a normal and discreet speech. 5 points of agility. Choice 2. Be extremely arrogant and threaten the whole school so they know who's in charge. 5 points of strength. Choice 3. Positive speech. Move everyone with sincere feelings. 5 points of charisma. Again, the system with these choices. But what is this charisma point? Does it make me more popular? In theory, it would be good to be discreet, but I can't do that anymore, especially considering what that girl told me. I'm actually looking forward to taking a good beating. Choice number 3. I'm glad to receive the title of extraordinary, but I don't think I deserve this. I'm useless and only have weak power. I don't have much to do. Why did you give me this title? Thank you for receiving me. Thank you, Academy. I will try to become a pillar. The school people even like that. I didn't imagine Lin Xiao was so modest. His friend was impressed. I thought he was going to do something stupid. The blondie gets angry. How dare he steal my attention? Mission accomplished. He earns 5 points. Now it's explained. The guy loves to cheat the system. It was all a lie. He then changes his speech and says, with all due respect, but in reality, you're all garbage. The damn guy just wants charisma points. Director Jiang seems pretty calm. He tells everyone, if you envy me, come here and hit me, let's see. Lin Xiao thinks I just need everyone to hate me. That will help me sharpen my bones and muscles. With that, it's the end of the ceremony. He walks toward the people and says, come here and hit me, you idiots. But the chubby one and his friend already step in front. The chubby one asks people to forgive him today. But Lin Xiao already calls him garbage too. He changes his mind now. They ask if Lin Xiao wants to fight, and with that, he is beaten up. He could have been beaten up by the ghost in the room. At least it would have been more fun. Now the girls are thinking that he thought too highly of himself and leave. But the instructor liked it and is thinking, this kid is kind of crazy, but he has a certain style. Apparently, he really wanted this to happen. I think he must have some purpose. In the next chapter, he's on stage shouting, "Is nobody going to come here and beat me up? I am supremely handsome, and I stand here every morning." The enemy of the channel monetization appears and says, "Hey Lin, why don't we come back another day?" But he says he won't give up. He looks at some guys and says, "You guys don't want to beat me up because I'm too handsome, right?" The guys lose it and say, "I want to beat this guy up anyway." He's been begging for a fight all morning. But one of them warns he's kind of crazy, don't get involved with this madman. He leans against the wall, sadly thinking it's been hard to get beaten up lately. The guy passing by hears this and says, "Are you looking for a fight?" Confess to one of the four beauties of the school, Mo Kingston. Our protagonist says, "I am courageous and I will go confess. It seems like this is the path to what I want." Our ghostly woman doesn't like this much. He goes to the campus chat and writes, "From today on, No Kingston will be my wife. If anyone refuses, meet me at location X and beat me up. Because I love her with all my heart." The ghost tries to contain herself, saying she knows he's just pretending. He's already happy to see that someone didn't like this and replied, "Just because you're an extraordinary freshman, do you think you can do this? Wait for me." Our guy is now smiling and has a group coming after him. One guy even pulled out an AK-47. "Are you Lin? How dare you mess with our Queen Mo? Let's kill him." Now Lin is even scared by the number of people who came, and the ghost is even somewhat sorry for him. However, in a room, someone saw the message in the chat and thought, "Lin Xiao, huh, I'll remember you." It was the first time someone spoke up so bravely for me. He was brave, but now he's beaten on the ground. The guys leave, saying it's good he learned his lesson today. Look who's coming to protect Lin, saying those guys are too worked up. Did you know he's a new student? The guys are scared, and she says they have 3 seconds to disappear or they'll get a beating. The poor guys run away instantly. She looks back at Lin and asks, "Why are you getting involved in so many fights? Are you trying to toughen up your body?" He awkwardly says no and asks what she wants. She responds, saying that after training, she's going to open the spiritual spring. He curiously asks what that is. The instructor explains, when the spiritual energy in the world recovered, countless treasures appeared on the earth. The spiritual spring is one of those treasures that can help improve your strength, but you'll have to compete with others for it. And she warns him to be careful and that it's open for a limited time. She also says it's good for him to thank her later. Our protagonist thanks her and says she's the most beautiful. She says she loves receiving compliments, and since he's like that, come with me, and I'll give you a special benefit. Our guy is now excited. His nose bleeds, and he thinks, "I'm sure that Fatso lied to me. It must be a nice, enjoyable benefit. I'm sure I'll win." In the afternoon, behind the school on the mountain, he's already dodging rocks to receive the benefit. The instructor tells him to train hard and just be careful not to die. Come on, there's still a lot for you to do. The poor guy is now wondering, is this a blessing or is it pain? And the sneaky Fatso laughs at him. Later, he's under the waterfall taking a beating. That biker from before would love this. But our guy says enough of that. The instructor tells him he has to move on and face his fears. But now Lin Xiao wonders, why did I agree to this? Sometime later, he says he can't take it anymore. She says a real man never says no, but he complains, saying he only trained all day. She didn't even let him eat or rest. She then decides to give the protagonist a few minutes off and says, "A lawyer is adopted son, you don't know much, do you?" Lin says that if it's about his father, he really doesn't know. Everything he heard was from other people. She then explains, "You don't know how great he was. 10 years ago, an army invaded Kanglin. Monsters were killing the innocent and occupying all territories. It was an unimaginable and unknown danger. But it was your father who organized the border hunters and defended Kanglin. As a member of that team, I had the privilege of fighting alongside him. We protected the people and managed to stop the enemies. However, there were many S-class enemies. And in the middle of the battle, some were injured, and some like your father died." Lin replies that he had no idea his father had died protecting people. And he thinks, "No matter how much I've reincarnated into this body, I feel proud to have had such a father. I came to this world and am living comfortably that I almost forgot. This place is only peaceful because others fought for this peace. My parents and their predecessors. And now, even though my father has died, my sister continues to fight. Many hunters protect the city to keep it peaceful. Fate allowed me to reincarnate, and I just wanted to stay calm. But I know I can't live a life of only joy. For the sake of the world and the people I love, I have to get stronger." He stands up and says, "I will protect this world. I want to continue and get stronger." She says, "Okay then, go and do another 1,000 push-ups, with her on your back to motivate you." The scene changes to a meeting where the guy who got flicked on the forehead is speaking Lin Xiao. "I can easily eliminate him. A simple freshman like him won't last seconds. The old man is hiring students to kill our protagonist. There are 1,000 spiritual stones on the table. Take them and be ruthless. I don't want any mistakes. The guy thanks him, saying, "Don't worry, I have the qualification to enter the spiritual spring, and there I will defeat Lin. I'm being paid, but I already wanted to finish that guy off." Not only does he want to be the center of attention, but he also talked about my Mo Kingson. That trash is going to die. He then leaves without taking the stones, saying he'll receive them after finishing the job. The boy is all confident. It's because he hasn't faced the hefty ghost yet. Our boy leaves home all convinced too and says, "Wife, I'm going to the spiritual spring. Maybe there's a chance for us to cultivate tonight, buddy." And she's all cute there at the door waving goodbye. In the last 2 days, with the help of my wife Hong Yi and further training from Professor Tan Lin, all the marrow pills have almost been absorbed. And Maya's class physique is almost ready. Look at the yellow weasel. I had even forgotten that this creature existed. He approaches and asks, "What's wrong, little puppy? Why don't you want to eat? Isn't the bone tasty?" The weasel responds, "Who the hell are you calling a little puppy? Even if I starve to death, I would never take a bite of the food you hand me." Lin shows a piece of chicken, asking if she really won't. The weasel says she won't give in. But when he gets closer, she takes it and starts devouring it. He then stands up and the weasel warns him, "Kid, you better be careful. Since I didn't return, Yang Wang will send someone else to finish you off." Our boy thinks the weasel isn't that bad after all and thanks her. They then arrive in front of the spiritual spring. Everyone is impressed. The instructor says you all have 500 stones stored in your Kanglin order. This is to stimulate your cultivation, so keep them safe. After entering the spiritual spring, throw the stone into the spring to extract the energy from within. Lin asks, "What is the spiritual stone?" They say it's just a stone containing spiritual energy, nothing special. It's fuel to replenish your energy. With that, the spring opens, and the guys rush in desperately. The girl with a lot of clothes tells them to hurry up. They need to get the best resources. Look at this voluptuous little ghost making a heart, saying, "Go ahead, little Lin Xiao. Come back soon. I'll be waiting for you." Lin thinks the scenery is beautiful, and each of the springs seems to have a separate cave. It's incredible that Kanglin College occupies such a large place. The chubby guy runs off, saying, "I'm going to help some girls find the spiritual spring." Our protagonist is lost. Damn it, he didn't even tell me which one is the best. By the way, that Yan Lai is here. I have to be careful with him. I can't sense any special spiritual aura, so I can only rely on my senses. This door here seems big and imposing. I wonder if there's something important behind it. Here we go, spiritual spring, here I come. He kicks the door and finds 2 classmates at the cultivation springs. The one with blue hair says, "This is the Lin Trash who confessed to me." The system also sent a message. Please make your choice. Leave the cave immediately after watching. 5 agility. Jump into the spring and have a blast. 6 psychic fragments. Apologize and gain 5 bonus points. He always surprises me. I never can guess what he's going to choose. Things have come to this point, so there's no need for me to explain. I'll move forward. He already jumped in for some wet fun, but he's been beaten up and thrown out. At least he got the fragments and saw something. A guy sees this and gets angry. Isn't this where Mo Kin Sheng is? Did he see her body? Lin, I'm going to kill you. Our protagonist thinks I got beaten up, but at least I found this spiritual spring. Too bad it's small, but I saw those beauties and still made some profit. It's not so bad. The aura of this place is so rich and comfortable. The best one comes and asks, "Darling, am I not enough for you? Why do you keep messing with other women?" Our protagonist gets scared and also gets bitten. I hope it wasn't with a monster mouth. Otherwise, he's done for. The poor guy suffers, thinking I didn't expect her to get jealous. But suddenly the door explodes. Who's the crazy one coming in? The guy enters shouting, "Lin Xiao, how dare you defile Mo Kin Shen?" Lin looks and thinks it's the guy who was with Yang Yi. But he doesn't care, already seeing him with a tiger's claw. Our Lin dodges, but the guy smashes his spring. However, the guy falls into some evil energy. Our boy is hanging on, but the guy grabs his leg, saying, "I'll take you with me, Lin Xiao." Our hero tells him to let go, but ends up falling with him. Even the ghost girl is scared. Things are dangerous. He's falling into the eternal abyss and thinks, "Elder Yang, this young man here has fulfilled his mission." Lin is also going, but is confused. We're out of the water. Why is there soil down here? The ghost girl comes to save our boy. The other guy broke on the ground. He fell down like in Fortnite with his glider. All happy, thinking, "Luckily, I have my wife." On the ground, she says, unexpectedly, there's a space under the spring water. Greedy Lin already wants to know if there's any treasure there. She gets excited with this idea. They go to the guy who fell already onto his next life. She asks if he's shaken by killing the guy, but he says he doesn't care. The guy attacked him himself. And now it's time to take everything he has. He stole all the guy's stones. Han Yi says the spiritual aura here is very strong, so there are probably various ghosts and monsters nearby. He asks if there are other ghosts as beautiful as her. She calls him a stupid idiot. Those other ghosts will want to kill him. This is probably a ghost domain, a fierce and fatal place, especially for a weak human like you. So this place is dangerous indeed. Then they hear a chuckle from the bushes. They look and see something bouncing. Did they throw a Pokeball at the protagonist? He picks it up and wonders where it came from. Some monsters then appear, telling him to play with them. The system activates, kick the ball back and benefit. 3 strength, find a way to kill these damn brats. 5 power, or provoke them and become enemies, gaining 8 power. He looks at the creatures and starts laughing, asking, do you want to play? Let's play then. Get the ball. And he kicks one in the head, who falls dead on the ground. The other is scared, saying, you killed my brother Xiao. But with this, he completes a mission. Han Yi says he's now an enemy of those creatures. Isn't he afraid? He says this is what he wanted, thinking, I'm about to fully absorb the power of the pill. I want a bunch of monsters to come. Then a group of chubby goblins comes to attack him. In the next scene, he's already getting beaten up and the goblins think he's crazy for letting it happen. The goblins, seeing the ghost, wonder who is this ghost woman? Is she with the psychopaths? I don't think so, since she's just watching. On the ground, Lin is asking for more beating. The goblins decide to devour Lin with their big mouths and he starts calling for help. Han Yi realizes that he's really in danger now and will have to help. But then she sees a light emanating and gets confused. Our protagonist has awakened the power of the Dragon Ball and comes out all muscular. I finally awaken the S-rank body. Dear, let's kill those brats. He charges in and starts pounding away, cutting here and punching there. She congratulates him on the S-rank body. Those previous beatings weren't in vain. Finally, I'm stronger. This S-rank body is great. I can feel all the meridians in my body burning. It's almost like I've been reborn as a phoenix. The ghost girl is happy, but they sense something strange. Her spiritual hand pulls him and she says she felt the breath of a B-rank or higher ghost. It's likely a king. He asks, a ghost king? But she flies off, saying, it's better if we go up first, then I'll return to the spirit world. They manage to escape. The group of students is waiting there, and the teacher didn't come to help. It seems she just waited. She looks and asks, Lin Xiao, so you were underground. It seems your physique evolved. The chubby guy is envious of Lin's physique. The monsters were about to grab him, but she protected him with the power of the mountain. But our guy finds it odd. Why is she so serious? What could make her so scared? The instructors seem afraid. The guys have already activated their powers and managed to stop the monsters. In the next chapter, they're already back home with the ghost. He sees a news report on his phone about what happened, and they didn't find that boy's body. It seems Professor Tang and the others didn't find him in the ghost realm. Was he eaten? He receives a message from the chubby guy saying since the spiritual spring was closed, the academy decided to reward the students who participated with Soul Jade. You have to go get it as soon as possible. He asks Han Yi what a Soul Jade is. She just says it's an energy core found inside ghosts and monsters, and depending on the monster from which it was extracted, you can obtain some special abilities. He asks if every ghost has a Soul Jade, and where's hers for him to get? The chubby guy suffering there wonders, is this guy really going to treat me like a dog forever? Our protagonist is about to leave but puts some chicken soup out for the Funha and says, if it weren't for your warning, maybe I would have died at that guy's hands. Thank you very much. The yellow one says, are you realizing how good I am? Why don't you make good use of me then? But Lin just ignores. The Funha thinks at least he's different from Yang Wan, who always mistreated me. Lin Xiao is cruel sometimes, but you can see he's a good person. What am I saying? Why am I having a good impression of the guy who's imprisoning me? In an elder's office, he's losing his head in anger. Damn it, how did we fail again? The blonde guy tells the grandfather to send more people or someone more powerful. But the grandpa says they'll have other opportunities. Just wait a little longer. At noon, at the treasure house, this is where they'll receive the Soul Jade. This is the treasure house's caretaker. Everyone calls him Old Kang. The chubby guy tells Lin to behave. And the old man opens his eyes a bit, stares at Lin, and he's already impressed. Lin wonders, why do I feel like my aura is suppressed when he looks at me? The old man gets up and says, let's get on with it since you're here. In a room with the group, he's impressed, and the chubby guy says, all of these are stone boxes that store the Soul Jade. They were designed to test our strength. I already managed to open one, but it's really difficult. The old man then tells them to start. Everyone, find a way to open the box and receive your jade. Lin asks the chubby guy if there's a secret way to open it, but he says it's just brute force. Everyone is struggling but not succeeding. The chubby guy cultivates a bit, sends out an aura, and manages to open one. but he gets a trash jade. Lin realizes how it's done, but doesn't know which one to choose. It's like a lottery. Here comes the system. Keep a low profile and open the box normally. Receive 5 power points. Choose 2. Open the box with destruction and receive 8 power points. Choose 3. Pretend to be a newbie and ask someone for help. Bonus 4 power points. Lin thinks it's testing his physical strength, so he decides to open it with a punch. The old man is lost, asking why he's opening the boxes like that. Lin tells him, "You said to open the box any way I wanted, so I decided to smash it." And then he punches another one. The old man gets angry, telling him to stop breaking everything. Everyone runs to stop him, but the old man grabs and takes him to another room. Already in the room, Lin asks, "Why did you bring me here, old man?" The old man tells him, "What else was I going to do? Let you break everything. Now come, here are some rare soul jades I have. Seeing that you have good strength and talent worth cultivating, we'll make an exception, and I'll let you choose one." Lin is excited, but still doesn't know which one to choose. The ghost whispers in his ear about the red jade. This is the burning ghost soul jade. Although it's an F-rank jade and contains little spiritual energy, it's a rare jade that can stimulate potential and allow you to learn abilities from the flame system. Although your body is already S-rank, you don't have good abilities. The old man says he has a good eye. This might be a low-grade jade, but has great potential for enhancement. As expected of Lin Wan's son, the boy's vision is unique. The system then asks, the host carries a jade. Do you want to absorb? Lin thinks since Hong Yi and the old man said it's a good choice, this must be the right one, so he absorbs it. Successful absorption. Psychic energy gains enhancement from the fire attribute, unlocking a like on this video, my brothers. What do you think of our cheeky ghost who pets eyes? Beautiful thing that I like. But let me bring more cultivation from this active little ghost and leave a like. Bye. And do you remember that the last chapter ended when our dear Lin Xiao had just picked up that red jade? He absorbed it and realized that his firepower had increased. Even the old man was impressed, wondering how this kid had so much psychic power, and the system congratulated our boy, saying that he had unlocked the chai in his left arm. He was amazed at the strength he was receiving. It was so much power that the guy was starting to suffer. The old man was impressed. Indeed, the boy had a bright future ahead. Suddenly, his chubby friend burst into the room, telling our boy to run because Mo Kim, Sheng's boyfriends, were all coming to beat him up. He warned him to be especially careful with a guy named Lu Feng because he would probably want to finish our boy off. However, Lin Xiao was confident since he had just acquired new abilities and was ready to make that guy his punching bag. Outside, there was a crowd yelling for him to come out, and a blonde guy was shouting, demanding that Lin Xiao show up. A blonde guy approached and said that the guy had probably fled until everyone saw our boy coming fearlessly, and he even had the audacity to ask who was looking for daddy. The guy immediately asked who he thought he was to be declaring himself to Mo Qin Sheng, but eager to test his power, Lin Xiao just called him for a duel. The guy got angry and said he would have to fix his attitude, activated the poorly drawn monkey move, and attacked with conductive energy. The attack seemed to have hit dead on, and the chubby friend could only see the smoke as the trajectory was impossible to follow. But Lin Xiao had defended it with great ease, dodged the guy's attack, and told him to get out of the way. Our boy asked if that was all he was capable of because he was here to take a beating. The guy then yelled to his group to bring in the artillery. Man, it really was artillery. The guy summoned a cannon. This dude was peculiar. He grabbed the cannon and told the boss to use it with all his might. Our boy started wondering if these guys were really interested in Mo Qin Sheng, since he wasn't even a woman, but he decided he was tired of this and rushed in to finish them off. However, the guys holding the cannon said he was about to feel their wrath. Lin Xiao responded that they were about to witness his new ability and activated the new aura in his left fist, which he named Infernal Punch. At the same moment, the shot was coming. The chubby friend questioned if that was what he had obtained from the Soul Jade. Once again, smoke rose in front of him. Everyone in the school heard the noise and wondered what had happened. When they got there was an empty crater. The two guys who were holding the cannon asked how that was possible, and the blonde guy questioned if he aimed at the ground because he thought they would apologize. Obviously, Lin Xiao had narrowly missed the attack, but he warned them that this was their last chance to disappear or else they would get smashed. With that, the guys were left defeated while Lin walked away with the chubby guy, celebrating that he was no longer so weak. From the top of the building, the old man thought that Jiang Lin had really found an excellent disciple, and with her help, that child's future was very promising. In front of our boy's house was his sister, who was angry because he never sent any messages. Since he didn't reply, she didn't know where he was, so she had to come to the house where he lived. The problem was that he didn't seem to be there either. However, she decided to enter, saying she was going to surprise him. That's when his furry rat noticed someone was arriving and immediately ran to the sister and warned her to get out of there or he would have to beat her up. But he stopped for a second and realized something was wrong. Why was he defending that lousy garden for that damned Lin? The girl petted him, saying he was a very cute furry rat, but he puffed out his chest, saying that just because she was a little girl didn't mean she wouldn't get beaten up. But then he felt the aura of her teddy bear Tibbers asking if he wanted a beating. Immediately, he turned into a cute puppy and started wagging his tail. The sister petted him while he wondered why this family always humiliated him. With that, night fell and Lin was returning home exhausted from another tiring day. However, he soon noticed that the door was open and assumed someone was stealing his stuff. Hong warned him that she was sensing a murderous aura and told him to be careful. His sister was hiding behind the couch, wanting to surprise him. Lin sat down there, finding it strange that he couldn't find anyone. He asked Hong if he had accidentally left the door open. When she told him to pay attention, he turned around to see what was coming. It was his sister, giving the boy a hug. Lin was happy to see his sister and asked what Shio was doing there. She angrily said she was there because he never replied to her messages. Our boy made up an excuse, saying he was too busy cultivating. The furry rat wondered if that wretch was really his sister. Shio then said she would forgive our boy because he was working hard, and he thanked her. Then she said she had good news. Since she was always alone, she had made an accompaniment certificate and could now live there with him. Our boy was clearly very happy with this news, already feeling devastated because this meant the end of his joy of the little coast. The furry rat was behind the couch, wondering if things were going to get even harder in that place. At that moment, he tried to sneak out quietly, but the two of them had already noticed. The sister caught him on the way and asked when our boy got that sewer rat. She said she had a lot of fun with him, and our boy realized the poor thing was being abused. He then started to hug him and ask if he was really living alone. Lin Xiao wondered if she was there to play detective, but the psychopathic sister immediately said she was sure he must be bringing women to that house. Our boy just replied that he was very focused on cultivation and didn't even have time for those things. She said it was good to know that and told him to be careful with women because they would only cause him harm. He said he understood, and with that, she left. He stayed there, wondering if he would have to start hiding his relationship with Hong Yi. That crazy girl seems eager to live with him around. This boy definitely says yes to child labor and puts his sister to cook on a stool. Too bad what she prepares is worse than poison. He's already wondering if this is some kind of revenge for him not sending a message. At that moment, she wants to know why he's not eating, and he questions whether she's really sure that's edible. She says yes after all, the yellow rat ate it and is in good health. He tries to eat everything as quickly as possible to avoid tasting it, but strangely, he's impressed that it's not as bad as he thought. That ocean soup feels like he's being embraced by mermaids, and with that, he says it was delicious. However, it seems only he liked it because the yellow rat is isolated over there. The next morning, he didn't have class, but he was trying to find a way to make money. Before, he was alone, but now 3 people are living with him, and the boy is going broke. While he was crying, not knowing what to do, a friend showed up and asked what the problem was. He said it was nothing, just that he was going to work for the next 2 days to make money since he didn't have class. The friend said he also needed money and knew a way to make some. Lin immediately got excited and asked to go with him. The chubby friend said he only acts like this when he needs a favor, but he informed him that he was lucky because they needed one more person. With that, he got all excited, saying it was time to make some money. The scene shifts to the mercenary hall. Our boy knew such a place existed, but he had no idea it was so popular. The chubby friend explained that there was one in every city and that it was very busy because you could make money there. On the mission board right in front, there were several extremely generous missions, but they weren't very easy either. But it was undeniable that for them, as students of this school, it was the easiest way to make money. He just had to be careful with the difficulty of the mission he picked because some could be traps. However, Ling Xiao already had one in hand, saying that 50 million stones was very generous. He grabbed all the missions, saying he would soon be a new billionaire. People were watching him make a mess and wondered why there was a child wanting to be a mercenary. He was already imagining that with so much money, he would live a life full of joy and even his wife would be very angry. Obviously, Hong Yi doesn't like it when he has this kind of thought. With that, his friend called out, saying that the team had arrived, but warned that this was a recommendation, and whether he could continue with them would depend on his performance. He pointed to some people and said that was the squad he was part of called the Shogun Blade. They seemed so famous that they even had some fans. The chubby friend went through the mill, trying to catch up with the rest of the group. He introduced the protagonist to a guy on a throne and said that he wanted to join the squad. People quickly noticed that he was a beginner, and our boy, embarrassed, said it was a pleasure to meet everyone. The leader extended his hand, saying hello to him, and introduced himself as Chu Tai, the captain of that squad. Our boy, still embarrassed, said he had heard great things about them and would like to get a chance. The guy started shaking his hand, saying he trusted a student from Kanyang Academy. The chubby friend said that Lin not only had good psychic powers, but also obtained firepower. Chu Tai said that in that case, they had to do something, a test of his physical strength. Our boy asked if it was like the one he used when he had to awaken, but that he placed his hand, wanting to know how much stronger he had become. This time, a C+ appeared, and the chubby friend praised him, saying that when he joined, he was FFF, and now he had risen so much. Shuti was impressed and said that the boy indeed had talent. He said that C++ was enough and welcomed him to the Shogun squad. our boy thanked him and promised to do his best to make this group the greatest in the world. However, a blue-haired guy nearby told him not to be so presumptuous. He was sure that when Lin Xiao encountered the difficulties of a mercenary's life, he would give up. Our boy seemed to recognize this guy from somewhere. The captain ignored the conversation and said it would be better for them to introduce themselves. With that, a girl greeted our boy, who became very shy. He then lifted the boy next to him and said that his name was Mo Xiu and that he was a captain. Besides that, he was the brother of Mo Qin Sheng, the girl our boy had confessed to. Immediately, he was in shock because for sure, this guy must know what he had done. He approached Lin Xiao, who told his brother-in-law not to get too stressed out. The brother got angry, saying that the only true love she would ever know from a man would be his. People were confused. Clearly, the guy had a sister complex. All messed up, he tried to explain that he meant he was the only one who would protect her. But our protagonist had already realized that this guy needed a doctor. Suddenly, he pointed at our boy and said he would only accept him into the group if he passed a challenge. The chubby friend warned that this guy was rank B, so it would be very difficult to beat him. However, here comes his system, asking him to choose an option. He could try to make peace and beg for forgiveness and gain 5 agility points, try to beat this guy up and gain 5 strength points, or try to convince the guy he didn't deserve to participate in a fight with him and gain 5 spirit points. He thought to himself that he already had a lot of spirit, and what he needed most at this moment was agility. Mo Xiu told him to respond quickly, and our boy was sure that was the best option. Out of nowhere, he started spinning his feet, twirling toward the boy, leaned in front of Mo Xiu, and said he regretted confessing to Mo Qin Shen. The fool thought our boy was scared of his power, and with tears in his eyes, our boy begged for forgiveness. He said that if the boy was so sincere, he was obliged to accept the apology. With that, the mission was complete, and he gained the agility points. But as always, Lin Xiao didn't want to leave it at that and delivered an uppercut to the fool's chin, saying thank you. The captain and the friend were shocked that he acted out of nowhere. Oh boy, poor Mo Xiu was slammed into the wall. Meanwhile, our boy celebrated as the 5 agility points really made a difference. The guy tried to get up, saying he was Dan for making a sneaky attack, but he wondered how it was possible for someone of rank C to have such a strong punch. Lin Xiao said the guy needed to be a man of his word, and now that he was defeated, our boy would join the Shogun team. Mo Xiu tried to complain, but the captain told him to shut up and stop fooling around. Obviously, the boy didn't want to accept it, but the captain warned that they had more important things to deal with and would talk about it later. However, at that moment, Mo Xiu told him to take a look. Our boy had started showing off to everyone. The girls were telling them to forget about Mo Xiu, and as always, Hong Yi warned that when they got home, she would need to have a talk with him. The poor guy realized he was losing his fans. A girl with a bandana said she thought he was very cute and lively, and then the captain told everyone to be quiet because they were about to start the mission. However, Mo Xiu wasn't going to let it slide and promised he would make Lin Xiao pay for it. In front of a giant mansion, someone warned that it was haunted and that no one who entered could get out. The captain, all excited, announced that their mission was to find the people who had disappeared from that place. Our boy was wondering why it suddenly turned into a horror story. The chief gathered the group and informed them that killing the ranky cannibals or bringing back the missing people would count as a completed mission. Then he told Mo Xiu to hand out the communicators. Hearing that they were rank E creatures, our boy already knew he would defeat them in one punch, but Mo Xiu warned him to be careful or he wouldn't make it back alive. The captain opened the door and said they were starting. Once inside, everyone began receiving directions on which way to look. In one of the hallways, Lin Xiao found the cold unusual, considering it was sunny outside. He was sure there were other ghosts around, and Hong Yi praised his improved perception, explaining that the creatures there were actually between rank C and rank D. He said the chief had told them they were rank E. Hong Yi explained that the monsters that were hiding their true power. Suddenly, he felt a strange sensation coming from both sides and immediately realized something was wrong. He didn't know what, but there was definitely a ghost on his back. 2 girls approached and whispered in his ear, asking if he was there alone. The crazy guy thought this was going to be a very different adventure, but Hong Yi already warned him that he had better start cutting down those creatures. Our boy said he was more interested in experiencing the torture they were going to inflict on him. The monster was obviously confused by this, and the ghosts asked which one of them he wanted to meet first. He could choose the left side to gain 5 charisma points, the right side to gain 5 strength points, or both to receive 10 agility points. He grabbed their necks and said that with the lights off, everyone looks the same, so he would go with both. Hong Yi asked what kind of messed up option that was and warned him that she was going to cut off everything he had. At that moment, he gained the 10 agility points and told them that he had actually changed his mind. He put his arm around one of their necks and said he wasn't that unfaithful, and threw both of them away, saying he loved his woman. The poor girl slammed her head against the wall. He turned to Hong Yi and told her she didn't need to worry because he was a man who didn't cheat. However, the monsters asked if he was lying because it seemed there was someone else. They began to approach, leaving Lin Xiao scared. He had used an all-out attack, but it was clear they hadn't been affected. And from the ground, some creatures started to rise. Hong Yi warned him that he had better run or she would have to show up and Jimin's allies might end up seeing that. The next second, our boy was already desperately running with his wife. Hong Yi explained that those guys following them were men drained by the ghosts. Our boy replied that it was a close call for him not to become one of them. The scene shifted to a restaurant where the captain was asking if anyone had found anything. The guy in the beret said no, but the temperature indicated that there was a ghost in that place. The chubby friend asked if anyone had seen Lin Xiao because he should have returned by now, and the girl with the bandana said she could hear something approaching the door. Suddenly, Lin Xiao burst through the door, shouting for everyone to get out of the way. The captain asked what all those creatures were behind him, and the ghosts came with a group saying to capture everyone. People wondered how that damn Lin had found all the ghosts in the place, and our boy was already hiding behind his friend asking for help. The monster shot some acid, telling him to stop hiding behind others. The attack hit the chubby guy and the captain, heading toward the girl with the bandana. Obviously, the fan service kicked in, and the warrior had a wardrobe malfunction. The most honest boy of all approved of the attack, and strangely, the chubby guy's hands were in a peculiar position. The captain said it wasn't the time to be shy and that they had to face those enemies with courage. With that, the group charged forward. I don't know what that Smepper fool is doing getting closer, my friend. You should stay far away. Now he's in the middle of the fight like an idiot instead of being far away aiming. The captain extended his arm and launched a phoenix attack. The ghost was immobilized and thrown to the ground. At the same time, the chubby guy grabbed the other one from behind and started choking her, while his friend was trying to help but felt a bit exposed. Lin Xiao continued to admire while Hong Yi told him to give her some clothes. Angrily, she seemed to cast some sort of spell on his back, and Lin Xiao realized he couldn't move. Apparently, Hong Yi had taken control of his body and made him put a cloth over the girl. She was all impressed that he was so heroic and kind, and a little later, the two creatures were immobilized. Lin Xiao realized he had missed the chance to help in the fight because of Hong Yi, and the girl with the bandana told him she would return the clothes when she got home. She said she would wash them very well and gave him a little kiss. Hong Yi was devastated because the poor girl's plan had gone completely wrong. Of course, the one who didn't like this was the fool with the sister complex who was dying of anger. The captain, on the other hand, announced that since they dealt with creatures above rank E, they would receive a bonus. The capitalist obviously loved it since he needed money. The friend felt sorry because the increase wasn't much, but he was celebrating. A little later, the people who requested the mission approached and asked if they were the ones who had won. The captain said yes, and the guy with the Eternal congratulated them. Suddenly, the guy went to the car and asked a girl named Mayan if she wanted to see the ghosts. Our protagonist wondered if it was the big sister, and from the side, we could already tell that something dangerous was coming. He recognized her as his sister, and she didn't seem too happy, or rather, I'd say she looked very intense as she got out of the car and went to talk to our boy. He greeted her, all embarrassed, while the rest of the team had no idea he was the brother of such an important person. His sister asked why he was working as a mercenary, and our boy, still embarrassed, said it was to give Shio a better life. His sister didn't seem very friendly and just turned away, telling him to keep doing that. He called out her name and she asked what it was. He said he wanted to get stronger and asked for help to join the night patrol. But his sister just said that he was too weak and had just entered the academy, so there were many things he had to do before that. Lin Xiao felt a bit sad, but he kind of expected it because it was a very difficult place to get into. Seeing that he was sad, his sister informed him that there would be a test in the middle of the year, and if he really wanted it, he could participate. If he passed, she would help him get stronger and share information about their father. Then she threw a small box at him, saying she brought something. He was all happy. After all, he got something from his big sister. With that, she said goodbye and he was left all giddy, thanking her. However, she seemed excited, saying that her brother had changed a lot. His friend then said it was time for them to go back, not before praising the background, saying that his family had some really good people. Mokshu was angry and muttered to himself that he needed to warn his sister that this guy was dangerous. Back at home, Shio had dressed up the poor sewer rat, who was already getting exhausted from being humiliated every day in that house. Our boy told Shio that today he had received a gift. She got jealous, but he said he'd bring her a present later. With that, he quickly opened it, eager to see what it was, and found another soul jade. He was impressed that he had received something so valuable, and Shio told him to try to fuse with it. The system detected the high-level jade and asked if he wanted to absorb it. Of course, excited, he said yes. With that, he sat on the couch, and an aura began to emanate from him. The soul was impressed because only very strong people could do this. Indeed, he was evolving rapidly and had now become someone much stronger. The yellow rat was amazed. He didn't imagine Lin had so much potential. The system notified him that if he absorbed 100%, he would gain absolute defense. It took some time, but he felt himself getting stronger. Now he could envelop his body with the aura and create a protective shield. Finally, he felt confident enough to take on creatures above rank C+ by himself. Shio congratulated him, and he said it was all thanks to Mian for giving him that stone. Now he was stronger and would be able to protect his sister even more. While he was celebrating, Hong Yi was in the background watching, pleased with his rapid progress. For now, she wouldn't complain about anything. The scene shifted to Jiang announcing the end of the class. Lin immediately went to talk to her, saying he wanted to register for the spring test. She said that even if he didn't want to, she would have forced him to participate anyway and informed him to come to a special training session later where he would gain various benefits. This idiot still hadn't learned that he wouldn't gain any benefits at all. His friends were excited about his registration, saying he had a great chance, while the girls thought the guys at the school were hugging each other too much. Suddenly, someone kicked the door open, and two girls entered, one of them demanding to know where that damn Lin was. No one said anything, and she ordered him to show himself, or she'd have to beat him up. Our boy realized it was King Cheng and the girl who had been with her in the bath last time. He felt embarrassed, wondering if they were there for revenge. However, the crazy guy, seeing her, thought it was understandable why her brother didn't want to leave her side. But dying of fear, he pointed to the chubby guy, saying that was Mr. Lin. Of course, she knew it wasn't true and whipped him, telling him to stop lying. Lin Xiao realized there wouldn't be time to dodge, but he activated his new aura and easily defended himself. She didn't understand how that happened since she had put 90% of her strength into that whip, and the crazy guy asked if she had come all the way there to give him a massage. The girl in the long shorts told Jianju not to go too far in their classroom. Our boy wondered why Su Tang was suddenly trying to defend him. This work could use some help by giving these girls different hair colors. They all looked the same. People in the room were wondering if they were really going to fight seriously. The attack began to destroy the room, and the two of them started fighting, breaking everything around them. Her friend wondered why she was fighting Su Tang and if she came here to complain to Lin Xiao. The chubby friend explained that these two had been rivals for a long time. In that case, he started cheering, saying he was about to see women fighting. While the two of them tried to kill each other, the idiot was there with his pom-poms. Then, out of nowhere, someone appeared laughing, a guy in a black robe who said he was going to play with them too. Lin Xiao was all confused, wondering who this guy was, and Hong Yi warned him to be careful because he was exuding a very strong aura. The two confused girls wondered the same thing, and the crazy guy started laughing, introducing himself as a dark ghost. The friends asked if he was someone from the underworld, and Lin was confused since he had never heard of that place. The chubby guy knew it was a dangerous organization, so he immediately ran off to get help. At that moment, the guy teleported in front of Mo Qinsheng, saying that the Mo family never disappoints. The people there couldn't even see his movement, and the guy started wrapping her in some peculiar energy, announcing that he had come to this place just to take her. The girl with the whip came from behind and struck his arm, causing Mo Qinsheng to fall to the ground. She declared that he would only be able to kidnap her friend over her dead body. Someone needs to call the police for this villain because the guy said she was perfect to be enslaved and become his servant. The girls clearly didn't understand the plans of this weird guy. That's when Lin stepped in, asking who these people from the underworld were. The girls were confused as to why he suddenly became so polite, and the guy got angry that Lin didn't know about their famous group. Then Mo Qinsheng explained that it was a coalition of various ghosts and creatures controlled by corrupted humans. When people didn't awaken psychic powers, it made contracts with demons to obtain a little power. Lin then said he understood that the guy was just a loser. The crazy guy started laughing, congratulating him on being able to provoke him, but warned that it would cost everyone's lives. At that moment, he activated a limiting seal that began to form something in the sky, and a bunch of energy started being directed at everyone. Lin and the entire group had to dodge in fear of dying. Lin took the opportunity to grab his phone and try to call for help, but the guy informed him it was useless since no signal could leave that place. The system then gave him a mission. The first option was to abandon everyone and flee to seek help. The second option was to betray the entire school and receive a pill that cured any disease. The third option was to join forces with everyone to defeat the guy and receive 8 dragon psychic fragments. Our boy got excited since the system always appeared at the right time. He thought for a moment and quickly reached a conclusion. Meanwhile, poor Mo Qinsheng was being tossed around. The guy told them to stop resisting and come with him. Su Tang once again stepped in and saved her friends, warning the guy that he wouldn't be able to take anyone from Kanglan College. The guy told the group of little girls to give up. Suddenly, Lin appeared behind him, saying that was actually a good idea. The girls were confused about what Lin was planning. Our glowing boy apologized, saying he hoped to be forgiven. He said that, in truth, Kanglan College was trash, and indeed the underworld was an amazing place. The girls were sure that Bastard was just trying to save his own skin. The guy laughed, saying he always forgives someone who learns their lesson, and told Lin that if he wanted to join the underworld, he just needed to bring Mo Qinsheng to him. Unfortunately for the guy, the system considered the mission complete, and Lin said he had a request before doing that. The guy asked what it was while Lin was already activating his fist, and with that, he punched him in the stomach, saying he wanted the guy dead. The poor guy was sent flying, and the girls couldn't understand how Lin Xiao, who was rank F, was now so strong. Our boy said that his limbs were so weak that they couldn't handle that punch, so it wasn't worth joining that organization. His real goal was to join the night patrol. Su Tang was getting a bit emotional, but obviously the guy wasn't going to be defeated that easily and said Lin had made the wrong choice. At that moment, an attack came from where he was and headed towards Lin. He was about to be hit, but Hong Yi quickly pulled him away. He thanked her, realizing that if that had hit him, he probably would have died. The guy admitted that Lin was incredible for dodging that, but then sent a snake wave to bite him. Now empowered with protection, Lin activated his aura. The snake bit him, but its teeth broke, and our boy grabbed it with his hand to destroy it. Then the guy activated his strongest power, saying that now Lin was guaranteed to die, but suddenly all the academy instructors appeared. Our boy was excited, thinking he was saved, and Jiang said she wanted to see if that technique would guarantee the boy's death. Confused, the guy asked how they got in and said the protection he created was impenetrable. Jiang informed him that she had been making better barriers than that when he was still in diapers. However, the guy replied that it didn't matter since, in the end, everyone would die from his technique. With that, he sent another snake attack aiming at Jiang. Man, I thought she would dodge, but it looked like the girl got swallowed. The students were all confused, wondering if she was really not coming out of there. The guy started laughing, saying it was ridiculous, that she had made all that show just to die in the end. But suddenly, the snake exploded, and of course, Jiang was there in the middle, intact and as healthy as ever. Lin was impressed, wondering if that was her true strength, and the guy realized his little snake had been fried. Jiang apologized for having blown up his snake. The guy, scared, asked how she came out unscathed, but she just replied that she was tired of this, and it was time to end it. With that, she summoned a furry goat to finish him off. Lin was impressed, wondering if that was her true psychic power, and from above, a creature launched a fire attack. The poor underworld guy was fried on the ground, and she kindly stepped on him, asking why he died before she even had to try. Our curious boy asked where she got that furry monkey, which slapped him in the face, leaving him devastated. The chubby guy explained that it was a rare spiritual beast called a red sloth. A while later, the entire group approached the immobilized guy. He warned that he wouldn't say anything even if he died, but Lin and Jiang seemed motivated to extract information. With that, the boy began to be whipped and spun like a bee-blade. The group spent a long time just watching the poor guy suffer until suddenly he started crying and said he would reveal everything. However, something finished him off from the inside out. Everyone was shocked and a girl appeared, saying she couldn't let the information leak like that. Man, I knew she was an enemy, but I didn't expect her to come with so much power. Lin was frightened by the aura she was emitting, and Jiang immediately activated everything she had, telling everyone to be careful. The one responded that they didn't need to be so scared because she was only interested in one person. In a split second, she appeared behind Lin. The movement was so fast that no one even understood what had happened. Our boy complained, saying to capture one of the girls and leave him alone, and with that, everyone ran, shouting at her to stop. But our boy was thrown into a portal without being able to do anything. The scene shifted to an isolated mountain, and the monster threw our boy to the ground. He wondered why he was always getting beaten up by women, but she just told him to stop being noisy because no one was going to rescue him there. Lin prepared to punch, saying he didn't meet anyone, but then he noticed that his curse wasn't working. He looked at his hand, wondering what was happening, and the very wicked girl said she had closed off the spiritual world he possessed and informed him that he was more promising than Mo Qin Sheng for the experiment they wanted to conduct. Lin wondered if she already knew about all the powers he had, and with his spiritual area closed, Hong Yi couldn't help him. He backed off, wondering how she had seen all his potential when he hadn't revealed anything. She, on the other hand, offered a crystal, saying that if he ate it, he would receive a very good reward. The system told him he could refuse to gain 15 strength points, be an obedient child, and eat it to receive 5 fragments, or stall her for a while and escape, gaining 10 agility points. He thought for a moment, considering all the probabilities, and decided the choice was made. With that, he said he would rather throw himself off the mountain than eat what she gave him. Immediately, the system congratulated him, and he gained some strength points. The wicked woman said she would cripple him first before forcing him to eat it. Our boy fell to the ground, saying he had suddenly changed his mind. She said that was a good boy and told him not to disobey. She put the crystal in his mouth, saying he would receive a special reward for being the first. With that, the boy got a double present, or rather, not really. As always, poor Hong Yi was dying of anger. Lin started finding it even stranger that he wasn't feeling anything when suddenly Jiang appeared behind him, calling his name. The woman just turned around and said she would visit him again soon. Our boy responded that he hoped that day would never come. Then the chubby guy grabbed him, asking if she had done anything to him. The blonde asked Jiang if they should continue following her, and she said it was better not to for now. She turned to Lin and congratulated him for buying time for everyone. Our presumptuous boy said he only needed to use his charm to do it. A while later, he was back home. This guy is multitasking and had time to buy a gift for his sister. She and the furry rat thanked him, saying he was very kind, but then his sister asked why he didn't seem to want to eat anything. He just replied that he was a bit tired and would go up to his room first. As he broke the door, he fell to the ground in excruciating pain. His body was burning intensely, and he was in inexplicable pain. It was obvious that the ghostly woman didn't have good intentions. Suddenly, Hong appeared, hugging him and asking if he was okay. He was sweating cold and couldn't even activate the system while she told him he needed medicine. She explained that the crystal he had eaten was strengthening with his energy, and if it continued like this, he would end up dying. Then she concluded that there was only one way to save him, a very classic method using natural remedies. Our boy, sweating cold, asked what she thought she was doing. She said she would need to combine their yin-yang energies for him to survive. With that, he began to consume the so-called remedy. The next day, our boy woke up. He seemed to think that everything that happened yesterday was some kind of spiritual dream, and they were still very different from each other. However, seeing that she seemed tired of everything he had done, he decided to cover her with a blanket. This rascal is now interested in restoring her physical body, isn't he? I wonder why. When he went down to the first floor, his sister called him, all excited, and announced that she had made his favorite breakfast. Our boy thanked her, saying her cooking was getting better and better, while the sewer rat wondered how this kid hadn't died from eating that garbage. Then his sister asked what kind of training he was doing in his room yesterday, saying she heard several sounds of punches. Our boy, trying to be clever, asked if she didn't hear something wrong, but she wasn't naive and questioned if he wasn't hiding a woman. Lin swore on the life of the furry rat that he wasn't hiding any woman. The poor rat wondered why his life was at stake, and with that, our boy dashed out, saying he was late for class. His sister was sure he was hiding something, and the big rat was convinced that the ghostly woman would soon be exposed. When he arrived in class, he was already exhausted and the day had barely begun. His friend called the protagonist, saying he had seen something incredible. When he looked out his window last night, he saw the shape of a female ghost in Lin's room. Our boy wondered why he had a neighbor who spied on him at night, but when he tried to deny it, his friend immediately showed him that he had recorded everything. Poor Lin was devastated, wondering why he had done that. The worst part was that the chubby guy said there was a rumor that Lin didn't spare any ghosts. Our boy threw the phone in his face, asking why he spread such a stupid rumor. Suddenly, Jiang entered the room and told them to sit down quickly. She announced that the test everyone had been waiting for would start in about half a month. She handed out some papers, saying that when the time came, 5 of them would go as a team. Our boy noticed that the 3 training sessions she gave him were a bit peculiar and wondered if she really wanted him to go through that kind of training, especially since option 2 didn't seem normal at all. However, Jiang immediately told everyone to gather behind the mountain because they were starting today. In the next scene, she was already whipping them, saying there were still 1,000 more to go. The poor students were killing themselves doing push-ups, realizing it was harder than ever. Even the girls were having to carry stones. No one was being spared. As always, they had to dodge fireballs while running down the mountain, and poor Lin was still getting punched in the face. The day had barely started, and everyone was already exhausted on the ground. On the way back, they were so worn out that they couldn't say anything. Our boy told the chubby guy to walk faster, but he said he was at his limit. The group looked around and said they looked like a bunch of zombies, and just remembering Jiang made them start crying again. But once again, it was time for training. Stu Tang asked if the team's name was really going to be Blade Hunters, and the chubby guy asked if Lin was going to be captain. She said the name was already chosen, so they didn't need to worry, and she was sure Lin was capable of taking on that role. The group was impressed with how much Jiang trusted Lin, and with that, the old man appeared, saying he was going to announce all the teams and captains who had registered for this year's training. Our boy was anxious because finally, everything was about to start. The Sectama of the dollar store introduced his team, saying that victory was already guaranteed. Our boy was impressed that the guy was as arrogant as he was. Another blonde guy named Yang Yi also announced his team, and the lovely Mo Qin Sheng was of course well accompanied. Naturally, our boy approved of that team. Captain Shuqi's team was also announced. Our boy couldn't believe that old man was a student at the academy. There was also a team led by a blonde guy that our boy seemed to recognize as one of the guys he had beaten up. And lastly, of course, it was our boy's team. It seemed he had used the name of one of the most famous teams, and everyone thought that was very bold. That friend from the beginning, seeing that he was the captain, thought the boy was changing, and as always, the supporting characters were dying of envy. That blonde guy who had been trying to kill him since the beginning but hadn't succeeded so far was fuming. With that, Yang Yi raised his hand and said he didn't accept the protagonist using the name of the legendary team. Our boys' group felt a bit embarrassed, and the rest of the school said Yang Yi had a point and that it was wrong. Obviously, as always, his plan was to tarnish Lin's reputation. Our boys' team wanted to know what they were going to do and if they were going to change the name. Option 1 was to gain 5 power points to reject this guy's suggestion. Option 2 was to try to change the subject and gain 5 agility points. Option 3 was to agree with Yang Yi and receive 5 spirit points. Lin then said that his father had carried the name of that group to the last moment when he was fighting the creatures, and as someone from the new generation following his legacy, he would take on that name and fight with his team. Our boy got emotional with his own speech, saying that everyone would love it. Scott was motivated, saying that he was really vigorous, and it would be great to follow the boy. Lin quickly told him to stay away, saying he didn't want any men following him. However, they immediately said that anyone who went against Lin would be against them too. Our boy was devastated because until now he had only gained male fans. Mo Qin Sheng's friend mentioned that Lin seemed like a brave boy, and she somewhat agreed. With that, the idiot Yang Yi realized that his plan had completely backfired. Instead of everyone hating the boy, the worst thing happened. Now a bunch of girls were cheering for him. Xu Junio blushed, admitting she had underestimated the boy when she shouldn't have. Our boy was emotional and all flustered as people started chanting his name. The dollar store Satama was there saying he wanted a chance to fight someone with so much determination. Jiang quietly mused that maybe it was a good idea to let him have that name after all. She hoped the captain's spirit would be happy to see his son doing this. From afar, Yang swore he would get revenge, but everyone was passing by and bumping into him, knocking him to the ground. The poor guy was trampled and left there abandoned. A bunch of girls then came to talk to our boy, who was now getting a bit full of himself. His group couldn't understand how this had happened so suddenly. The scene shifted to the preparations for the big event. The groups arriving were impressed with the scale of the event. There were even people setting up booths to sell to the students. Some psychos were selling autographed photos of Mo Qin Shen. Lin said he was sure it must be all Photoshop and that it was ridiculous for them to sell something like that at the entrance. To prevent anyone else from buying them, they took everything to avoid trouble. Strangely enough, even Sulai seemed to be selling pictures of Mo Qin. What a disgrace. These guys all needed to be arrested. Jiang greeted the captain, and the girl with the bandana felt a bit shy seeing that Lin was with them. Our boy greeted her, and she introduced herself as Coco. She couldn't understand why she felt embarrassed when he talked to her. Then Lin asked what that old man was doing there, trying to scam the students. The old man said he only sold quality stuff and that Lin could take a look. Our boy squatted down and asked what that was. The man informed him that it was the complete map of the Red Demon domain, where the mission would take place. Now Lin got excited. Not only did the map have the shortest route, but it also highlighted the most dangerous areas. Chu Lai added that as a member of the Chauvin squad, he would get a 10% discount. However, the guys in the team seemed to be hatching a plan. Man, this place was full of little thieves, and the boys left, taking everything the poor guy had. Coco told the captain to give up because Lin always acted like that, but the guy, still excited, said it was fine because the original map was with him. With that, our boy returned to the group. The two girls were confused as to why they looked so tired when they arrived. At that moment, the examiner appeared and said he was going to explain the event's rules. Each team would be followed by cameras, and with the footage, they would be judged on everything they did. At the end of the event, they would be ranked by who contributed the most. Some portals appeared, and the examiners told the captains to head to them. With that, everyone ran excitedly, saying it was time to start hunting. Lin stood there, thoughtful, seeing so many portals, sure that each one led to a different place. The girl in the group told him to hurry up and choose because it didn't really matter. The next moment, they were teleported and appeared in a magma-like place surrounded by mountains. Our overconfident boy told them not to worry because he had the perfect map, but then he was shocked to see that they were in the most dangerous place. Everyone rushed over to take a look, and immediately, they were disheartened to see that they had indeed landed in the worst possible spot. Lin then told them to wait a moment, saying he had a plan. The group didn't seem very convinced by what he was saying. Meanwhile, in the organizers' meeting, Jiang said she was excited to see how everyone would perform this year. Suddenly, someone burst in, saying they had a problem. Some of the students had stolen the image-capturing car and were using it in the dungeon. The old man mentioned that her brother's face seemed like the type to do something like that. Embarrassed, Jiang admitted it really seemed like it was him. Our boy was in the dungeon, having stolen the filming car and was speeding through everything. His sister was already disappointed, saying it was impossible for him to be of the same blood. Of course, the elders expected nothing less from Lin, who was trying to reach the destination as quickly as possible. Su Tang looked outside and said something seemed strange, asking how they were going to get out of that place. Lin told his friend to follow the map correctly, saying there was no way it could go wrong. However, at that moment, the chumby guy told Lin that something seemed off. His car was in front of a city. Walking around there with Hong, he wondered if any ghosts were living in that place. She said yes and told him to be careful, but he just told his wife not to worry. Suddenly, he noticed that everyone had stopped. They were observing a bunch of women tied up on the ground. Su Tang asked how it was possible for those ghosts to be keeping people captive. Our boy told everyone to be careful while he checked around. Obviously, he wanted to be alone to use Hong Yi's powers. Suddenly, he came face to face with Barry, who told him to be careful because there might be something strong in there. But he just turned around and said he had a plan to make sure no one suspected him. With that, he entered the place, announcing it was a robbery, while surrounded by a ghostly aura. The shopkeeper was confused by this ghostly thief. Lin just told him to stop stalling and hand everything over. Seeing Lin's aura, the shopkeeper wondered if this kid was at the king level. Our boy just made a slight threat, and the Cyclops said he could take whatever he wanted. This psycho suddenly started robbing the ghost shop, and Hong encouraged him to keep going and take everything he could. Our boy spotted some items to help with cardiovascular exercises within 4 walls, but suddenly, another gray Cyclops appeared, asking what was going on. The previous Cyclops grabbed the bar and said there was a guy bullying everyone. Our boy immediately noticed that this one's aura was much stronger, and Hong Yi warned him. The Cyclops approached Lin and asked if he really came to rob his store. Lin, being cheeky, said he wasn't stealing but rather borrowing. But then the system appeared with the first option to apologize and gain 8 agility points. The second was to go on the offensive and beat everyone up to gain 8 strength points. The third was to find a quick way to escape and gain 4 agility points. Our boy thought the rest were dumb, so he chose the first and gained 8 agility points. With that, he went to the store owner and said he felt like returning everything. The owner was confused by this type of thief who returned things so quickly. With that, the mission was complete and he gained 8 points. But of course, he changed his mind and the bag disappeared from the guy's hand. In a second, Lin was running away, thanking him for the items. The Cyclops wasn't going to let that slide and chase after him through the city. But strangely, along the way, it seemed that the 2 guys from his team had also robbed some place. Soon, they all exchanged looks and realized what the others were doing. In just a second, they were surrounded by the entire city while the 3 of them ran desperately from the creatures. The girls were calmly standing by the car, wondering why the boys hadn't returned yet, when suddenly they saw them running towards them. The 3 of them started shouting for the girls to prepare the car quickly to escape. A second later, they were fleeing from everything. In the meeting, the old man remarked that usually the creatures were the ones stealing from humans, but this time the tables had turned. Jiang congratulated them, but Lin's sister didn't seem too happy with this performance. However, the teacher said she liked Lin because he was the least ethical student she knew. The sister wanted to know since when her little brother had turned into this demon king. Meanwhile, with Mo Qin Sheng's group, the girls were exhausted and it seemed that the items they had were all stolen by the creatures. Xiao Yu commented that the shamelessness of the monsters reminded her of Lin. Mo Qin Sheng replied that she was playing it wrong. Her friend responded that it seemed she was falling for the boy. Mo Qin Sheng blushed while the boys were approaching the SUV. He pulled out a loudspeaker and announced that everything in his store had a 10% discount. The girls, confused, wondered how this crazy guy had set up a mobile store in the middle of the dungeon, and Xiao Yu immediately wanted to know from whom he had stolen all that stuff. Lin said he wasn't going to say anything, and if she didn't want to buy, she could just ignore him. But she insisted, saying they had just been robbed recently, and now he showed up selling everything. Our boy told them to stop complaining and just check out the items. Qin Sheng, all cute, asked our boy if she could buy something. Of course, our boy said yes, and that she even had a preference. The crazy Lin was already thinking of setting up an industry so that every time there was an event, he would make a lot of money. That's when he noticed some people from other groups watching from a distance. He told Xiang to keep an eye on the store while he went to talk to those guys. The blonde guys seemed to be discussing getting rid of Lin, and they all agreed it was a great idea. He explained that all they needed was the right excuse to eliminate his group. Just then, someone appeared, asking what they were talking about. It was a hooded guy whom introduced himself as Xiao Yu and asked if the blonde guy had a problem. The blonde guy said he was looking for allies to take down a kid named Lin. Obviously, it must have been Lin in that poor disguise, who said that this Lin was a wonderful and extremely handsome boy. However, he was so beautiful that they wanted to beat him to death. The blonde guy was confused by the compliments but said that in any case, it was good to have someone to help take him down. He then handed over some soul jewels, saying it would help eliminate the boy. But Lin turned, saying that payment was too much, and he couldn't accept something like that. The blonde guy wondered why an assassin was being so honest, but suddenly Lin changed his tone, saying that actually the payment was too little. The blonde guy wondered if this bastard was messing with him and then pulled out a bag of spirit stones, asking if that was enough. Lin immediately snatched it, saying that since he was so insistent, he would accept it. He pointed in a direction, saying that his team was waiting there for them to finish off the boy together. They walked for a while, and the blonde guy was already scared that they were going so deep into the dungeon. Obviously, our boy with the map was trying to lead them to the most dangerous area. All Lin needed was to avoid running into anyone from the group he was pretending to be part of. But of course, at that moment, it ran into the group Lin was pretending to be part of. The blonde guy excitedly went to talk to the bald man, asking who he was. Embarrassed, Lin said he was the grandson of the school elder and announced that he had come to collect the services sold by one of their members. It was then that he noticed that the person had already disappeared from his side, and Lin, from a distance, pulled off his hood, thanking the blonde guy for being such a fool. The blonde guy immediately demanded that Lin return all the GA he had taken. However, our boy informed him that, unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen. The guy said that if that was the case, Lin would have to be beaten up. But Lin was now feeling pretty confident about defeating these guys. Then Saitama stepped in front of him and activated a golden aura, announcing that he wouldn't let 5 people gang up on one. Both the blonde guy and Lin were confused as to why the guy was getting involved in their fight. The system choices appeared once again. The first option was to take down the blonde guy and gain 6 power points. The second was to apologize and gain 2 jade fragments. And the third was to not waste time there and flee to gain 8 agility points. Our boy found it strange that the system offered the option to flee and wondered if something was about to happen. The blonde guy questioned Saitama, asking why he was protecting Lin, who responded that he would always protect honest people. As soon as our boy heard that, he took off running because he knew that when the guy found out the truth, he'd be in big trouble. The bald guy was moved, saying it was nice to see that the boy trusted him so much. With that, our boy gained another 8 agility points. Now he needed to return and see how the business with the chubby guy was going. However, Hong Yu warned that she was sensing an extremely strong aura nearby. Suddenly, a bunch of people ran past Lin, saying that a ghost army was coming. He grabbed one of the guys to ask what was happening, and the guy told him to let go because he was scared of dying. Our boy was already sure that his group was in big trouble. When he arrived, he saw his team trying to fix the car, saying they needed to escape quickly. A bunch of creatures was approaching from behind. The team thought about fleeing, but they knew that if they defeated this army, they would earn a lot of points in the event. So our boy said they would have to join forces to win this fight. Immediately, everyone got involved and the two groups worked together. With everyone's combined efforts, the battle began to progress. Lin noticed that the chubby guy wasn't using any power and asked what he could do. The chubby guy slapped the ground and summoned a giant dragon pig. Lin commented that it was impressive how the dragon had the same physique as its owner, but the chubby guy just ignored him and flew on his chubby little dragon, which was easily barraging the army with flames. Suddenly, some zombies appeared behind Lin, but Saitama showed up and killed them easily. Glowing, he told Lin not to worry and said he was getting angry because he needed to kill the creatures to earn points. The blonde guy was furious because everyone was killing creatures, and he was probably dropping in the ranks. Meanwhile, Lin charged at the creatures to accumulate more points, but suddenly, the blonde guy almost slashed him. He apologized, saying it was an accident, and Lin said it was fine. However, he had some powder on his face, saying it was his revenge. The blonde guy tried to slash again, but blinded, he missed, and Lin landed a solid hit on his face. He then placed a grenade next to him and wished him good luck before running away as the explosion went off. The group heard a sound and asked what was happening. Sutang immediately knew it was Lin's doing, who told them not to accuse him like that. Suddenly, a 3-meter-tall buff orc appeared in front of everyone. It seemed to be feeding on all the creatures they had defeated so far, and Lin realized that this monster was at least rank B. Hong Yi warned that he should try to flee because the group wouldn't be able to defeat it, and the team was paralyzed, unable to react. Even Saitama, who had been so brave before, was trembling. Lin began to wonder if he should be the hero in this situation or flee before everyone else. Saitama, seeing that Lin had activated his power, asked if he was really going to play the hero. Lin replied that he didn't want to be a hero. He just didn't want to see the people he cared about die. That's why, even risking his life, he would continue fighting. The monster was impressed that someone hadn't backed down even after he activated his aura. The system gave the option to flee and gain 20 strength points, kneel and beg for forgiveness for 15 agility points, or kill the monster to gain 20 strength points and a psychic fragment. Lin said he would be the creature's opponent, and the whole group told him to stop being stupid because that was the same as asking to die. In the trainer's room, his sister was asking why there was a rank B creature in an event for beginners. The people in the room also found it strange and began making calls and asking for help. However, his sister told them not to eliminate the creature. She said the best option was to leave someone nearby to observe but to see how the group would react. Jiang asked if she really believed that much in her brother's strength. She thought to herself that she just wanted to help him evolve and hoped he wouldn't disappoint her. Unfortunately, in the fight, his head was banging against a tree. The creature said it was ridiculous for someone as weak as him to try to stand up in this place. Hong Yi said this was getting risky, but Lin said it was nothing serious. However, she was sure he was losing his mind and said she would take physical form. He told her not to do that. Lin knew that if Hong Yi appeared in the middle of Ganglion Academy, people would try to kill her. So he told her not to worry, assuring her that he would win. The creature just said it seemed like Lin was seeking death and attacked him with a trident against Lin's fist. Smoke covered everything, and no one could understand what was happening. Unfortunately, our boy was impaled. Meanwhile, at the underground gate in the deepest part of this dungeon, some guys were wondering what was happening to cause everything to shake. One friend told the other to focus on the important things and forget the rest. Liam didn't seem to care, but the friend said that Leon was extremely dangerous. Suddenly, a red energy appeared behind them, and they felt a touch on their necks. The monstrously dangerous figure appeared once again. Hearing the noise in the area, she was sure that the Ganglion Academy test had already started. All she needed was to use this situation to break the seal, and her mission would be complete. She placed the stone in the middle of the door and immediately sensed that the aura inside was much stronger than she had imagined. As it began to open, she felt the presence of Oniji. She got excited, saying she was finally there to save him. The man freed himself, saying that he would finally take revenge on all those who had imprisoned him. The Horn Woman felt fear, realizing that his power was greater than she had imagined. He then said he could smell blood. She told him she had finished off those two, and he thanked her for the meal. He began to absorb everything, and even she found it a bit disgusting how he consumed anything. Afterward, he wiped his mouth and said it was time to take revenge on humanity. Meanwhile, Lin was still stuck against the wall, feeling utterly powerless. The deep-web Saitama couldn't even stand up to help. Hong Yi called out to Lin, asking what he was doing. He told her not to worry, that he would survive and bring her back to life. He remembered one of the pills he had received as a reward from the system, consumed it, and began to recover. However, the creature warned that everyone there would be eaten one by one. At that moment, the creature moved towards the most delicious one, but Lin appeared and protected her. The creature was confused about how he had recovered so quickly, and in the same instant, Lin landed a direct punch to the creature's stomach. He literally punched through the monster. Lin appeared on the other side, and the monster asked how he was already standing. Our boy ignored the question and told everyone to get up and help finish off the monster. Hong Yi was emotional, saying that the boy was growing a lot, and with that, the group gathered the courage to help him. However, the creature said they would all be killed anyway because they were just a bunch of ants. Hong Yi decided to pass a greater portion of her power to help Lin, and even the guys from Yang's group decided to help our boy. With that, everyone began attacking the monster, and in the meeting room, everyone observed that Lin had motivated the group. Jiang was excited, saying she was never wrong about the boy. Mo Qin-sheng, crying, clung to him, saying she was scared he might die. His sister was now thinking that maybe this boy really had the potential to reach rank S. Then someone entered the room and informed them that the person imprisoned in the underground seemed to have escaped. Immediately, everyone was confused, wanting to know exactly who had escaped. His sister stood up, announcing that they would have to evacuate everyone from that place. Our boy was thrilled because he gained 20 strength points in several fragments. Moreover, he could use a random skill book to receive something. He saw that it was a random system and got excited. He decided to use it immediately to see what it was. The system granted him a skill that allowed him to transform part of his psychic power into a highly nutritious egg. He stared at the thing in his hand, confused, wondering what kind of power this was had he turned into a chicken. But with that, he called the chubby guy over and told him to open his mouth. Before he understood what was happening, Lin had already shoved the egg inside. Man, this power is peculiar, right? It got even weirder when the chubby guy said that the texture was slimy and delicious, like being caressed by angelic eggs. You already know that soon some girl will end up receiving this unfortunate gift, but for now, the people around seem curious. And as usual, a bunch of guys opened their mouths, saying they wanted to try this egg he produced. Disappointed by the type of people interested, our boy shoved it into another guy's mouth. But then, of course, Mo Qin-sheng seemed interested. Excited, Lin asked if she wanted to try these eggs. He told them to open their mouths, and they obeyed immediately. I thought it would be a much worse scene, but it was actually pretty family-friendly. Obviously, the girls in his group were a bit confused by this development, and our boy offered it to Su Tang, who said she didn't want his egg. However, her motivated friend said that egg looked really tasty. Suddenly, a drone appeared, announcing that there was an emergency message. They were told to run to the return portals because something catastrophic was about to happen. Meanwhile, the demon Onanji was hunting for adventurers in the area. Man, he could smell women in the air. This guy is a danger to society. The poor girls also received the message to head to the exit, and they had no idea what was about to happen. The notorious harasser appeared, saying he had found a bunch of beauties. However, they were frightened, asking why he had such a ghostly aura. He got angry, saying they couldn't recognize his beauty, and then asked if this group of ugly girls wanted to become more beautiful. Confused, they said yes, it would be nice. He said that if that was the case, he would help them out a bit and unleash an aura that covered their faces. The girls were enveloped in smoke, and when it cleared, they were a little prettier. To be honest, I thought his power would be more potent, if you know what I mean. What the girls didn't know was that while they had the appearance he gave them, they were under his control. Immediately, they walked over to him and said they wanted to repay the favor. He thanked them, saying they definitely needed to pay for this, and informed them that he would take their blood. The first girl was bitten and drained, collapsing to the ground. He announced that this was far from enough and that he would need much more. Meanwhile, the horned woman said she could feel the energy from the experiment she conducted. Onaji said it was perfect and that he would feed on that person. She told him to stop talking nonsense because that was meant for their boss. But suddenly, an attack came toward them. Lin's sister and Jiang had arrived. Onaji immediately recognized them as members of the Night Division Patrol. Without introducing themselves, they attacked him with a barrage of power without saying a word. The guy was confused, asking where the introduction was and had to jump to dodge the first attack. At the same moment, the horned woman appeared behind Lin's sister, but she reacted quickly, landing a blow right in the middle of her stomach. The poor woman was being frozen and realized she couldn't move. Oniji remarked that, unfortunately, he only liked playing with more passive women, and in a quick move, he vanished, grabbing the horned woman. He informed them that, unfortunately, he had a date with this lady, so it was goodbye for now. With that, he flew off instantly. Lin's sister told Jiang to get on because they would have to stop this guy. She knew very well that if he escaped, this domain would turn into a large-scale war. Meanwhile, at the exit, Jiang was calling for our boy. Lin appeared, and everyone was confused about why they were being forced to leave the event. Suddenly, everyone was shocked. Oniji appeared in the sky with the horned woman. Lin immediately recognized the woman who had given him that thing to eat and wondered who that guy with the powerful aura was. Oniji activated his power, commanding everyone to kneel, and they all fell to the ground, unable to react. Lin realized that Oniji's power was much stronger than any ghost he had ever encountered. Hong warned him that this was one of the 8 Ghost Kings, and she would have to use everything she had for them to survive. Lin knew that being a Ghost King meant he was at least rank A. Onmenji simply announced that everyone should become food for the king. A giant ghostly hand began to surround Lin, saying it had found what it was looking for. With that, our boy was pulled out from the middle of the crowd. The horned woman warned Oniji that if he absorbed the boy, he would have to deal with their leader. Meanwhile, Lin wondered why these damn people didn't elect this video. that helps Mamoru make more juicy content for his viewers. Activate the cheeky little bell, and I'm out.